Hey, stick around. Good morning and welcome to a match of Group B, because apparently I was wrong. Group B for the RedBull Esports Champions League. We are here with DK and Zhao Penyo, and I say we because I am not by myself this morning. I am joined by Wickermond. Welcome back and good morning to you, or good night.
It's not actually quite morning yet here. It's 10 p.m. where I am. But yes, good morning, Shiver. I'm excited for another day of Dota. I just quickly want to note to everybody watching the stream, the reason you're seeing Xiaopengyo and not Tongfu here is that Tongfu were playing at 3 a.m. yesterday. The organizers have made one schedule swap, so Tongfu versus DK will be in the slot that this game was originally in. So that is the I won't say the time because, you know, times mean nothing in ECL, but it is the 7th or the 8th of 10 games today, and then this will be swapped as the first game.
Yeah, and of course after this game we're gonna see DK again, that time up against Rising Stars, and we have just a whole list of games to go through today. 10 games for the group stages, and all these teams will be sitting at the location during that time, swapping computers whenever a game is over. And of course, as yesterday, there might be some time in between each match to accommodate for that. Might have a couple of delays therefore, but I think we'll be fine. We are already into the draft. We have got a Batrider and a Visage getting banned out, as well as a Lifestealer and a Darkseer. Alchemist is the pickup for DK. So we're gonna see Burning taking on that one, and the Gyrocopter picked up by Zhao Penyo, and that means that we have both teams already selecting their carry and one setup support going the way of Zhao Penyo as well, and that means DK, do they have a chance to pick up one of the setup supports as well, or are they gonna let the entire team ban them all out? And with setup supports, I kind of mean the Rubik in this case.
Sure, they could certainly secure a Rubik this early. It's a very strong support. It's one that DK have run before. I think DK is the team to watch today, if there's any team. They originally, for whatever reason, I haven't read up too much about it, but they said that they would not be able to attend the LAN. Then they changed their minds and said that they would be able to. So rather than being spread across 3 days, DK's games are actually primarily packed into day 2. By the end of today, DK will have played 4 of their 5 matches in Group B, and they will only have their game against Rattlesnake tomorrow. So the narrative for me today is going to be about watching DK, and especially watching their psychological approach and the general state of the team, because I know that they suffered a very tough defeat against Tongfu, 3-0 in the grand finals of the Super League. ROTK was very upset about it. Here I'm going to be seeing, you know, how they feel about it, whether it's affected their play, whether they've tried to sort of bring the team back together and can be dominant in this Group B, as I think many people still expect them to be.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned yesterday as well that this is basically the last chance these two teams have, or these teams in the entire tournament have, before TI3 to really prove themselves in a tournament setting. So, like, no pressure, kinda.
No pressure. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the last big LAN. Obviously, there'll still be quite a bit of scrimmaging and some practice for teams like DK, especially against the other ace teams. So they constantly scrimmage, you know, both LGDs, IG, Tongfu, but that's something that the scene is learning. The Eastern scene, especially the ace teams, used to think, you know, it's enough to just scrimmage and practice constantly. But at a tournament level, it's another level of pressure. It's another level of execution that you require. And so ECL is fantastic practice for DK to try to shore up themselves for TI3.
Yeah, and we see them selecting a Weaver, and that does mean that the Rubik is going to get banned out, so that was no surprise there. But the Weaver kind of shows that DK is going to already be a little bit more greedy than we might typically see. It's not going to be a 4+1 kind of show for Burning and the rest. With the OD and a Templar Assassin getting banned out, we might actually have a mid-hero selected. Like, is DK actually running Alchemist mid? I don't think so, right?
It's certainly possible for them to run a Weaver off lane and an Alchemist in a try. Also, depending on how the tri-lane for Xiao Pengyo works out, they could do an aggressive tri-lane with the Weaver and a solo safe lane Alchemist. That's something we see fairly frequently. Weaver's a quite strong aggressive tri-lane hero, usually paired with Visage, but obviously Visage is banned here.
Yeah, we have Clockwork picked up by Xiao Pengzhou. We still have a DK in the pool. One of the strong solo mids strong solo mids. One of the common solo mids, I'll say, that we often see. That we saw yesterday a ton of times as well. Another support band out for the last ban for Xiao Pengzhou. And that leaves DK to select a support or a mid still. I kinda, like, they're kinda revealing their cards. Oh, and they're revealing them even more now by picking up the IO. However, with already having 2 of their cores and an IO, which hero are they gonna combine up with the IO to try and get ganks going? Is it the Weaver?
I think if the Alchemist does fairly well early, if you decide to max your Unstable Concoction, your stun first, that's a fairly potent combination. They can do a lot of damage, especially if they just catch somebody completely unawares. It's not perfect, but it can do the trick. And honestly, DK is playing against probably the most likely 6th team in the group here, in the form of Xiao Pengyo. I see a lot of people speculating about the name again today. I just want to quickly say it literally translates to like little friends, but what it really means is kids. It's sort of an elusive name. So I think if you want to get practice playing IO, and it's going to be very important for the Chinese teams to either have a strategy in mind for utilizing the IO or just be ready to constantly ban it no matter what. Hey, practicing against a team that's good but not favored in the group is a good time to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, of course, in an official match where the other team will actually try to beat you properly. They pick up a Magnus as well. It's like, if we're gonna go try things out, then why not also the Magnus? And that probably leaves the Magnus to be taking on the solo mid role. Up against a DK is going to be a fairly easy lane for him. DK Magnus, we've seen it often. We know that it's going to be kind of a wash lane. Nobody really will die, maybe until level 6. Or of course until there's going to be rotations of supports incoming. And IO is not really a hero that we'll see making rotations anytime soon. However, on the side of Xiao Pengzhou, we see the Shadow Demon. So that is a hero that will rotate if he is indeed not needed anymore on the lane, which is of course the question.
Yep. I mean, now that the Magnus is on the field, it definitely, I think, puts to rest the idea that, I mean, either the Magnus or the Alchemist are certainly going to be mid. I feel as though it's probably at this point, they've basically stated what their lanes are going to be. It's going to be Magnus mid. I think it would have to be the Weaver off lane and then Alchemist IO X tri lane. They could do Weaver IO X tri lane, but I find that a little bit questionable. I'm scared of how strong that lane's going to be versus Shadow Demon Gyrocopter and another hero.
Yeah, another support hero probably that can set some stuns up with the disruption. Of course, we still have the Leshrac, Lean, Jakiro in the pool. We've seen a lot of bans yesterday for the Jakiro, and perhaps DK is going to try to do the same thing here. Actually, Xiao Pengzhou ban out the Leshrac themselves,
yeah,
so that's already one out of the pool.
No, with no Darkseer, the one best combination that Jakiro has is gone. I still think Jakiro is a reasonable option. Shadow Demon, as I think you mentioned, is a pretty good setup for ensuring that your Ice Path is just going to land the Disable all the time. That said, he's somewhat slow. He can be taken advantage of by a Shadowblade Alchemist or just a normal Weaver doing normal things.
Yeah, Weaver being Weaver, basically.
Yes. I mean, we saw what happens when you sort of let a Weaver get out of control yesterday in the lgd.int versus Rising Stars game, where he was, what, 18-0 and 13?
Yeah, Pycat. I think Pycat has had a very happy game, that one.
Well, it was Air, I think, right?
You said, well, LGD International played it as well. Pycat has a very good game
yeah.
with...
Oh, they do go for the Jakiro anyway. So yeah, that was a good call. It was left open. They're relying on the Shadow Demon to set that up. I also think Jakiro is stronger on the defensive tri-lane than the aggressive. So overall, I think this is a fairly good pick for Xiao Pengyo. They will have to make sure that the Clockwork is able to level, because otherwise they end up with these two melee solo laners that they're going to want to start bringing in to help out this tri lane to just win. And that means that Clock has to level decently well.
Yeah, and I think they will be able to help out the Clock. Maybe with the Shadow Demon and the Jakiro rotating a little bit. The Gyrocopter should be able to be okay on the lane, especially after maybe a bit of pooling and stacking. And the last pickup for DK, the Enchantress. So that's a lineup like... It kind of contradicts itself, because Enchantress is a hero that you normally see very early on active. She can pick up creeps early, she can start pushing early if she wants to, or go for ganks. Io, normally a hero that on the lane is a fairly defensive hero. Want to see him getting level 6 and then he'll be aggressive. And the same thing actually goes for the rest of DK. I mean, Magnus needs level 6, Weaver needs farm, Alchemist needs farm. So I'm gonna see how DK is gonna be fitting Enchantress in their action plan. Because that's gonna be interesting to see.
Certainly an interesting lineup. I would agree with you. I would characterize this as somewhat greedy. It's similar to the lineup that Tongfu ran in the last game of the previous night. I slept through it. I had to watch the VOD, but they also went with basically a jungler that's not as item dependent as Nature's Prophet, but still, you know, you've got this jungler. You have a support for whom it's extremely important to hit 6. Yesterday it was Lion, today it's Io. And then you basically have 3 straight up cores. The Magnus, obviously, he has to hit 6 quickly. He wants to hit Blink Dagger. And then you've got Weaver and Alchemist. So this is a lineup that's theoretically exploitable early by XPY. And the question will be, do they have the execution? Do they have the wherewithal to take the fight to DK fairly early on and try to peel apart the lanes in particular?
Yeah, and the ganks of the supports are going to be very important. And we'll see if they can make something happen there, of course. I mean, they've got the disable, they don't really have the damage in terms of support, so we'll see if they can make the damage happen with the harassment beforehand or something like that. But just to go over who's playing what, we have got Burning playing the Alchemist, no real surprise. ROTK will be taking on the Weaver for this game, MMY on the IO, QQQ on the Enchantress, and Super will be taking on the Magnus this game, and we'll be probably heading towards that mid lane.
No, almost certainly. Looking up towards Xiaopengyo, they do have 4 of 5 players reprising from yesterday. We have 1 substitution, so this is one of those teams that does have a 6-man roster, so they can swap in and out as well. T from yesterday has been replaced by Haibuzo. He'll be on the Clockwork. Then we have Dao Dao on the Dragon Knight. That'll probably be mid. Peng Peng will be on the Shadow Demon, and Dark Knife on the Jakiro. They will both be supporting ZZZ on this gyrocopter. This is still driving me nuts, because I was looking at the Steam profiles again today, and they have one guy who's named Dark Knife in Roman characters, and one guy who's named Dark Knife. Well, now he's just named Knife Knife. So this double character, this is like it's like a playful or a diminutive way of speaking, so it's like a cute knife, basically. So one of them is Cute Knife, one of them's Dark Knife.
Having 2 people with the same nickname in a team is quite confusing.
Yeah, but it's okay, because with the Chinese character, we'll just call him Dao Dao for...
Yeah, that works out. That works out for sure. We have got everybody of Xiaopengyo rotating bottom. Do you think there's a chance they're going to go for an aggressive tri-lane? I wasn't really expecting it. But perhaps because of the greedy lineup that you already mentioned, it might be a very good chance for them to make something happen there.
Well, right now they're actually going to try to go for the First Blood. I actually think they have a very good First Blood lineup. All Clockwork has to do is take cogs. If they get the surprise element, if they get the disruption, they have to catch somebody. That's the main thing. The positioning is going to be critical. If they catch QQQ, this is actually a very easy First Blood, and it'll set the Enchantress back.
Yep, there we go. Disruption, Ice Path, Rocket Barrage. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any doubt about him going down. First Blood goes the way of ZZZ, also of course the one that you won it on. And ZZZ actually rotating back bottom. So aggressive tri-lane. Or at least aggressive dual lane. We've seen a lot of dual lanes. Yesterday also, after you had to go, a lot of duos like, yeah, LGD International just went for 2 dual lanes and it worked out.
There was the IG Orange game with the 2-on-2 versus 2-on-2. But that also showed that you should be very careful about when you decide to run a dual lane, because I really felt that in that game the 2-on-2 tremendously favored IG, and Orange just sort of sat back and let them get the lanes that they wanted. Here, I don't think this is going to be a duel. This is probably going to be an aggressive tri-bottom for Xiaopengyo. This is surprising. Jakiro is typically a defensive tri-laner, but what they're trying to do here is keep Burning's farm from being good. They just want to pressure Burning as much as possible. And so the extent to which they'll be able to do that, since he's mostly going to be under tower, becomes the real question. But, I mean, Haibutsu will be just fine top against the Weaver. The Weaver can do... RTK will be able to do some harass, but I don't expect Haibutsu to die unless something happens with QQQ's Enchantress.
Yeah, I believe... Oh, we did go over all the players. Never mind me. Confused there. Let's see what they can do here with this Invis rune. Got Shadow Demon, of course, sitting ready.
Oh,
there we
Burning.
go. Ice Path, Rock Barrage. This is going to be enough. The 10 will be there. He's charging up a stun, lands it on ZZZ, and will be able to walk himself out of that one.
That was a nice tether, giving him that extra speed to get out of there. So yeah, DK, I like this dual lane, actually, from DK, because we talked about how they have 4 people who all need, well, really 5 people who all need XP. Trouble for Clockwork top a little bit. RTK's pushing him all the way back behind his tower.
Lucky for Abuso, there's no more mana upon RTK, so we'll be able to have a bit of extra freedom there. But look at the Rasp already. I mean, the cogs will be there, but for how long? For how long will they be there? Only 1 more cogs before he's out of mana. No clarity for him.
Yeah, these dual lanes, as long as Burning doesn't die, even if his farm is not fantastic, I think this is actually the best way that this can work out for DK. Because they'll get the levels for everybody. Most importantly, Io needs to find a little bit of level farm. And when you have a dual lane and not a tri-lane, Io can actually largely stay in the lane and still get a decent amount of XP and still get 6 at a good time.
Yeah, and Enchantress, of course, in the dire jungle, making sure that there she gets farm, and she's not going to get surprised by Shadow Demons that disrupt her and set up a kill for someone else. It's going to be a lot more safer than she would be in her own jungle. But I think that... Oh wait, he's charging up a stun. Let's see if they go for it.
He can defensively disrupt. Huh, interesting that he chose not to. Didn't want to waste the mana.
Yeah. And of course, taking that stun in the acid spray. It's gonna be half your HP gone.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know. I think he knows that it's unlikely that Burning just walks up and kills him.
Yeah.
That unstable concoction from Burning was actually primarily defensive. It was more a signal. Oh, I totally missed the kill in the mid.
Me too.
Super. That's probably a situation in which you don't expect to die as Dragon Knight. That's a little bit of a mistake by Dao Dao. He's now behind by a full level in a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this matchup for a little bit. It was basically like, you know, it's even. Nobody dies until they're level 6. So we're kind of not spending that much attention to it because, you know, we know how this matchup is supposed to go. But Super kind of outplaying here in the mid then and getting himself ahead. He's now level 5, Dragon Knight level 4. And in terms of last hits, he was already ahead there. He is actually 10 last hits ahead. In the meantime, Clockwork was forced all the way back to base and has to TP himself back to try to get a range of the creep wave again.
The effective zoning that they're doing with this aggressive Enchantress has been very, very good for them. And basically, Pengyo are struggling in both of their solo lanes, which I mentioned that they need these solo lanes to level pretty well to be able to sort of start moving around the map, especially because Dragon Knight is fundamentally not a tremendously mobile hero, and Clockwork is not that mobile until he gets hookshot. And DK are just doing everything right now as far as laning goes.
Yeah, and the aggressive Trilon, even though it got the first blood, not able to get anything going anymore. And that's of course because DK is playing very defensive. They're not even risking trying to go for things they might not be able to. Burning, sitting next to his tower, and most importantly, also, MMY is actually able to stack and pull, so he is not going to get behind on levels either. Oh, there they go. Let's see, they smoked up for this. They know they need something to happen. Just need to get a good disruption up, that's all you need. In the meantime, tower goes down. Wait a second. Cogs are gonna be there, but for how long? Clockwork running for his life. He is gonna go down for sure. Slow is there. Boom.
Yeah, and he didn't even... the reason he stayed, the reason he died was he was there trying to fish for the deny, but he didn't quite get it. RTK actually caught the last hit.
Mid lane, Skewer as well. Tetherstun, Dragon Tail's not gonna help you now, and that's gonna be the second time Dragon Knight goes down. And the first time the RP is used.
Yeah, once you're behind enough on levels like that, when you're level 5 and you're fighting, at the time he was 6, now he's into 7, that's when Magnus can actually pressure you. It's rare that we actually see Magnus as a hero who can win the lane, but a combination of outskilling his opponent a little bit and is enough for Super. And the fact that Dragon Knight is a hero who rarely outright wins his lane either.
Yeah. And quite surprising, we actually have Shadow Demon rotating mid to get some experience and levels, while Dragon Knight has to walk back. No TP for him just yet. And DK there, ahead on at least 2 of the lanes, like mid as well as top. And on the bottom lane, they're not losing against the aggressive tri-lane. And I think with that, this game is going the way of DK, actually quite heavily. We know that they have a bit of a greedy lineup, but they make it work because they just already took a tower, so everybody already gets a little bit of extra gold. And having this Magnus here means that as a mid-game hero, he can already do his job of creating space.
Definitely. The one sort of not great news just yet for DK is that Burning's not really farming. Not any insult against him, he just hasn't had the opportunity to. He's getting a little bit of farm under tower. You can see that he's gone that I am getting pressured early Alchemist build, the 3 in Unstable Concoction, the 2 in Spray, nothing in Greed. So, Alchemist's not farming, they're gonna try a gank on Magnus.
Yeah. Ice Path, here comes the Dragon Tail, and he should be going down. He does have a skewer, but yeah, that's gonna be a kill. Shadow Demon in the end, taking the last hit. Of course, he had a haste rune there, the last end of a haste rune, to get himself in range for that disruption real fast. And there was basically no hope for the Magnus. And with that, they buy Dragon Knight some free farm, and of course some more momentum in the lane in terms of just, you know, not losing the lane as hard as he was before.
Definitely. And credit where credit's due. Xiaopengyo played that gank exactly correctly. And it feels like I'm sort of damning them with faint praise, but even some of the other teams we've seen, like, for instance, Musi with their attempted Jakiro ganks yesterday, they just weren't able to synchronize those stuns effectively.
Yeah.
But Xiaopengyo, you saw the very good disruption time, the Ice Path right at the end of that to get the maximum Ice Path time, and then Dragon Knight stunning, not as the Ice Path hits, but as it ends. That was just a very, very well executed gank, and with a Magnus with rank 3 skewer, you have to make sure you stun him for as long as possible, because if they had screwed that up, Super would just skewer away.
Top lane, ZZZ ends up going down. RTK uses time-lapse, gets himself a man fight and wins it. Well, is it a man fight if you use time-lapse? I don't know.
Do you think time-lapse is a dishonorable ability to use in a heads-up fight? I mean, it is Weaver, so
yeah, but on the other side, I mean, Gyrocopter used his abilities too. The Rocket Barrage did a ton of damage, of course, warranted for that time-lapse.
Yeah, it's Gyro probably not going to be able to duel RTK just yet. Keep in mind, RTK's had the run of the top lane. He's actually the most farmed person on the map. Has a kill and an assist and, of course, the tower. That's a very nice start for Weaver. If you want to get to that point where he's as big as Air was yesterday, that's a good start.
Oh. We have got a smoked up Ios. Oh, and he smokes up right next to these. What the? Well, Centaur is around there as well. I think they saw it, though. They should have seen it. The edges of the smoke?
Probably not. It's nighttime.
Oh, but they all know there's not right now because the smoke gets dropped off. Here comes the Centaur stun. MMY gonna have some help from the Enchantress, and that's gonna be a pick off. The Ice Path coming in too late. In the meantime, the RP hits upon the Jakiro, and that's gonna be a shockwave through two. Dark Knife goes down. Dragon Knight running for his life. In comes ZZZ. Hookshot comes in as well, trying to help out. It is ZZZ that gets forced back as well. R2K looking for the kill. He can get it too as well. There we go. That's gonna be a kill on the Clockwork, and that is making it 7-2 on the kill score. Can they take it back? At least it's 8-3 right now. They take a kill on the Magnus, but in comes Burning, and down goes the Shadow Demon. Again, by the way, that was the second time that he dies. Dark Knife goes down here as well. Triple kill for RTK. And oh my god, that's domination.
It is not a great fight for XPY. They basically didn't have a clear understanding of the positioning of any of the players of DK. They didn't really understand the threat coming out of the dire jungle, and so they thought that if there was going to be a fight, it was going to be along this axis. Instead, it was sort of started over here, north of this ward, and just moved through the jungle to the tier 2. And when you don't have positioning knowledge, it's very hard to take a fight the way that you want it. And then when you have Magnus, who can RP your most important heroes at the beginning, it just becomes even harder.
Yeah, and of course everybody of DK coming in to help. We also have everybody of Xiaopingzhou there, and they actually, I thought they started looking good when the Gyrocopter came in, But he is super squishy and he died very fast, or at least he went down low very fast, therefore had to back off and therefore died, because DK has got brilliant chasing potential with the tether there, with the Weaver there of course as well, and Alchemist coming in to just clean up a little bit as well, and that's just a big fight to lose at this stage of the game. I mean, in terms of mid game, it's gonna go the way of DK, especially with the way things are going, and late game, Xiaopingzhou doesn't even have a guaranteed game going for them right now, in terms of heroes.
Right. They need basically Gyrocopter, given that they had not that difficult of a lane. I mean, they had an aggressive tri-lane that zoned the Alchemist to his tower. You would kind of expect the Gyrocopter to have had a stronger start than he had under those circumstances. He's got Phase Boots and Bracer, and that's about it. No, he doesn't have drums for that extra jolt of stats or speed if he needs it. Oh, Dao using the ultimate there. I think he thought he'd get the stun on Magnus, or there would be disruption into a stun. He doesn't get either. So that's going to be a wasted ultimate. I actually don't think they could even push it to the tower, so he's not even going to be able to do any tower harassment here.
Well, that's a bit of a shame. Pretty long cooldown actually, still at level 1. So you have to use those dragon forms wisely. In the meantime, he is farming. Wait a second. Top lane? Nah, it's gonna be fine, never mind. He is farming with supports by his side, middle lane, so didn't really get all the experience there. We do have a level 7 MMY on the IO, so I'm kind of expecting rotations to happen anytime soon. But then again, where are they gonna rotate to right now? They don't really have any extra vision. They have got one ward in the mid lane, DK. But other than that, no vision on where to relocate to.
Yeah, I don't think DK feel that much pressure to relocate just yet. It's more important, as far as I'm concerned, to clear out these tier 1s. And yeah, that's exactly what they do. They get the tier 1 bot. I would also love to see them get the tier 1 mid. It's very low. Once all 3 of those are down and they place some offensive wards, like they could place one... if I'm DK, I'm thinking ward the Ancients. Don't actually even bother blocking them. Try to trap Gyrocopter to try to farm the Ancients. You can see they're already quite stacked. So once Gyrocopter comes here and tries to do this, you just pick them off every time. And put a ward in the jungle somewhere, and just pick them off as they farm the jungle as well.
Yeah, we have got Xiaopingzhou farming on one lane at the moment. Only mid. Dragon Knight's trying to get something. The other heroes are just moving around a little bit, but not really getting that much on the map, and that's kind of hurting them, because DK is farming on 3 locations. And look at the difference in net worth. We see Gyrocopter and Dragon Knight, the highest 2. Wait a second. Clockwork might be in some trouble. RTK looking for a dive. He's gonna go for it. Relocate comes in as well, just in case. I don't think RTK needs it though. One more hit needed, and actually Burning comes in to steal the last hit.
Kill secured.
Yeah, oh, look at that. That's just free food right there. ZZZ, why? Why? Why?
Should have called off the TP.
Yeah.
The other person that was TPing, I think it was ZZZ, and I'm not sure who else it was. It probably was Dark Knife, if I have to guess. But he called off the TP, ZZZ didn't, and Gyrocopter just ends up giving it away. This is a really tough situation for Xiaopingzhou. I mean, they're quite behind. They're having difficulty with the Gyrocopter. He was 1-0-1, and now he's 1-3-1. His farm is stagnated, his net worth hasn't really changed. They need to somehow find a free area for him to farm. There is a little bit of a cooldown on that relocate, about 40 more seconds. Just take him top, keep the wave near the tower, don't push it out at all, and just hope that you can get the gyro to his BKB or something.
Yeah, and as you suggested, DK does take down the middle tower. A very fast Burning with more gold. I mean, he didn't have the best start up against an aggressive tri lane, but he hasn't died yet. He's building towards the Shadow Blade, and his net worth is starting to look more like that of an Alchemist. And if we look at the net worth, it's really kind of sad to see the state of net worth for the 2 cores from Xiaopingzhou. I mean, the IO is only like 500 gold away from the Gyrocopter. Of course, towers help as well, and that actually is no joke. But right now, they're just finding more farm, more kills, more of everything than Xiaopingzhou is, and I feel like they're a bit unclear about what path to take next. They know they're behind. Okay, let's take it from there. What do they need to do to try and get back into this game?
Yeah, they have some vision, but their vision isn't amazing. And so every time they sort of approach a lane, they kind of think better of it because they're like, well, what if we get relocated on? What if Weaver chews through us? The issue is that they're going to have to take some chancy farm. Like, they don't have much of a choice but to farm up the Gyrocopter and Dragon Knight more before they can possibly fight. So they don't really have the option of having an easy conservative lane to farm. Their best bet, I think, is to, keep sentrying, keep clearing out opposing wards, and just farm even if it's slightly more dangerous for the Gyrocopter or the Dragon Knight. They need to have 2 heroes farming at any given time. Like, it can't just be only one lane active. They have to try to get at least a lane in the jungle or a lane in the Ancients.
Yeah, I mean, they're up against a dual core from DK as well, so at least the least thing that they should do is get their own cores up to par and then just hope that the rest of their supports and Clockwork are gonna be able to just get the control over the fights with the Ice Path and with the cogs. It's basically their hope. Team fighting.
And Burning is starting to get farmed as well. He's now 2nd net worth. He's excelled super.
Hook shot misses. They had a force smoke up. The tether is
nice
there.
Tether.
It's gonna be an Ice Path. Oh, still hit. Nicely done. Here comes an RP though, up on 2. Super trying to run himself out. Gets a Dragon Tail. In comes EZZ. Rocket Rush. Super will end up going down. Weird tether right there. Relocate from the IO. R2K. Gonna chase it down. And in turns on the BKB. R2K, no Ice Path for him. That's gonna be Jakiro dead. Dragon Knight running for his life. TP out from the Clockwork. Will be able to escape. But Dragon Knight does not. Relocation with the Magnus, who bought back. Super making sure he did not die in vain. And I think with this, the fight that came towards DK, they are now able to pick up a tier 2 with that. Or at least do quite some damage to it. Nice cooldown coming up from ZTZ, trying to delay it from happening.
Yeah, I mean, this will be mainly just a slow. I don't think it stops DK from taking this tower necessarily. RTK is taking a little bit of tower damage, but he's going to get Enchantress healed, I think. MMY is sucking up all the Enchantress heal. Well, RTK is going to stay pretty low then, unfortunately. But they still take the tower. There's just no way to stop it.
Yeah, hook shot in. QQQ already has his Nature's Attendance on cooldown. Dual Breath goes through as well, and that should be a kill going away of Zhao Peng Zhou. But on the other side, Shadow Demon goes down as well, and now Clockwork Ice Path locks in Burning, so he can't really go in on the Dragon Knight just yet. Never mind, now he can. RTK trying to pick up the Jakiro on the backside, will be able to do so. And that is gonna be probably Dragon Knight as well, dead. Tries to do what he can. Actually, he's able to pick up Super, and now he doesn't have buyback, but triple kill for RTK, and that is gonna be... I mean, oh, wow, whoa. Gyro. Be careful there. He bought back, TP'd back into it, but it's by himself. Shadow Demon and him, the only one left alive in the end after the buyback. And a buyback now hurts him a lot because he needs his farm, he needs the gold, and he's already having such a tough time finding it.
Yeah, the fight was already over by the time he bought back and tried to come back into it. I liked the idea of TPing onto the low ground and just mopping up the remnants of the other team, but the remnants were actually mostly at full health, so there wasn't all that much that he could take advantage of, unfortunately. I think DK are playing very well, very cleanly. This isn't a game that they should lose or a game that they should even look particularly bad in. So it's good that they're playing it out so cleanly. ROTK has had a fantastic game as well. He's a player that receives a lot of criticism, but I really don't think he's made really any play mistakes this game. In laning phase, he effectively pressured Clockwork, Haibutsu in concert with the Enchantress. And then since then, he's just been all over every team fight. The early BKB, I think, was an inspired choice for this game. It makes it so that XPY don't have any tools for dealing with him. He knows that the Gyrocopter can't possibly duel. They're going to kill Gyrocopter again here.
Ooh, nice hook shot. That's going to be saving the Gyro for now.
Yeah, so barely surviving. That was a really nice defensive hook from Haibutsu there to save him, but just quickly return to ROTK's BKB. I mean, this is just, it's cheap. It's only 3,900 compared to the amount that you'd shell out for a Lincoln Sphere, so you save about 1,200, and that's half of a Demon Edge. You can just follow that up with damage. Lincolns would be almost useless here, and I'm glad he didn't build it.
Yeah, of course the Ice Path will still hit you regardless of Lincolns or not, and that's one of the things that can really control the aggression that comes off from DK. And I mean, the involvement rate alone on RTK's Weaver, I mean, he's been in 16 kills out of the 19. Only 3 kills have happened without him being present there, and that's quite impressive. Of course, MMY doing good as well, and they're actually 2 of the 3 heroes on DK that haven't died yet. And Burning hasn't died yet. The only one that has died is Super, who died actually 4 out of the 6 kills. 4 times. 4 out of the 6 kills on the dire side are his. Or deaths, I should say. And Enchantress, of course, going down twice. Once with the first blood, which made Xiaopinho really looking good at the start. Oh, in comes RTK looking for supports. Disruption is going to be there. Soulcatcher as well. Here comes the Sentry Ward. The BKB gets turned on though, and that will allow him to pick up a kill.
I don't know about this.
Time lapse away.
Oh, he's okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine.
And,
Nice.
and because it's still such an early BKB charge, he was just able
9
to
seconds.
use it. Yeah. Oh, and in comes the next one. Super. There's just a Sentry Ward placed. What's he doing? He will end up getting Ice Path. He still has a Skewer, he still has an RP as well, but it doesn't really matter. In comes RTK though, and with that, that's gonna be Clockwork still going down, so at least Super didn't die in vain. RTK, no time lapse this time, standing in flames, trying to do what he can, but has to back himself out of this fight again. In comes Burning. Not able to make something happen either. MMY backing off. They are able to get everybody very low, but not able to get any kills.
That was really weird. It seemed like Dragon Knight was attempting to breathe fire at the Weaver bugs. Can't do that, my friend. Honestly, that was a pretty good fight for XPY, but mostly as a result of DK really just a little bit maybe feeling like they already have this in the bag. RTK almost dies to a Clockwork Rocket. Very close, only about 70 HP after that. So they shouldn't give away things like that, like the kill on Magnus. Weaver could have very easily died in that engagement as well.
Yeah.
But they could probably give away their entire team 2-ish times before they actually start being nervous about the outcome of this game. So it looks bad, but honestly, it's not tremendously consequential.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the gold graph, and it's 21 minutes into the game, now 22. They're almost 20k gold ahead, and that kind of means, like, oh, wait a second, that's gonna be one gyrocopter down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have this very aggressive ward here, DK. So they're monitoring. I sort of mentioned that you want one ward in the jungle and one ward by the Ancients, and that's what they're doing here. They will know if Gyrocopter's coming to farm this lane or if he's coming through to the Ancients. So this is actually a great spot for this ward. And then they've got this jungle ward, giving them essentially... it's not global vision. Look at this relocate. This is going to be an easy kill.
Yeah, oh, nice Dragon Tail still coming off though, but of course Burning already charging up the stun. QQQ around there. Hookshot comes in to try and save the Dragon Knight, but it doesn't matter. And Jakiro actually has to flee. Burning also with his BKB. Looking for a pickup. Nice Demonic Purge. In comes a Blink RP. Super gets himself 1 kill. Looking for the second. 3 dead, 4 dead on the side of Xiaopinho. And that is going to be the Gyrocopter, the only one left alive, next to the bot back Dragon Knight. And it's looking from bad to worse right now.
Yeah, I don't think the kids have this one. The kids are not all right, in fact. You were misinformed if you were told that the kids are all right. I actually think that Haibutsu, I'm really impressed with his clockwork hook shots this game. I think they've actually, all of them but one have been very on point, and he's saved a few players maybe that would have died otherwise. I'm a little more impressed with his play than I was impressed with Chi's play yesterday, the other player that they had in this slot. But it's not enough in this case. They didn't get enough out of their aggressive tri-lane in particular. They kept Burning from farming, but they didn't really get any kills, and the solo lanes went poorly. Yeah,
they Dragon Tail up on the IO. Might be able to get a pick off here. Ice Path coming in as well, and IO indeed ends up going down, but as does the Jakiro, so a 1-for-1 trade. Hookshot misses, and that's gonna be QQQ. Nature's Attendants healing him up. Dragon Tail up on Burning. He does have his BKB up again. Can turn it around. Here we go. Let's see what he can do. Dragon Knight knows he has to probably run. And that, or actually Burning ends up running. Shadowblade there as well, of course, keeping him safe. 4-star for QQQ. And that's only gonna end up in an exchange of supports. And I think that's actually favorable for Xiaopinho. I mean, could have gone way worse.
I mean, it's a level 11 IO. That you killed. It's IO is equal to or higher level than every single one of your heroes except for Dragon Knight. So yeah, sure, take a trade. It's not bad for you to take trades in this instance when the other team's way ahead. Of course, it'd be great to trade something like Weaver for Jakiro, but even the IO is something. Unfortunately, I'm just not sure how it fits into a broader game plan. In particular, Gyro has just been killed so many times. DK have been so effective at shutting him down that if he ever hits the BKB, it would be nice, but he'll still have no damage.
Yeah, in the meantime, RTK has his Deadless complete. So talking about damage, he definitely has that. And DK, they're just joking Zhao Pingyo. I kind of...
Interesting.
Yep.
I mean, it's, yeah, the pure single target just keeps hitting gyro, and if you get a couple crits, who cares about the BKB? He'll just drop like a rock.
Yep. And of course the BKB is something that Dragonite in the end hopes to have, but it's gonna look to be a pretty challenging item for him because he only has the Ogre Club. For Dragonite? For Dragonite. Gyrocopter at least has got a Minthor Hammer with it as well.
Yeah,
but
I mean, Dao hasn't really been farming that much. Like, you can see he only has 93 last hits because he's spent a lot of time sort of defending the set-piece towers, like sitting around the tier 2. They have smoked up.
Whoa.
They know that DK is rushing, so that's a powerful bit of knowledge. Maybe they can try to win a fight around here. They're gonna hook in, most likely. It seems like they want.
Nice Ice Path. I think, like, if they lose this fight at Roche, DK will just walk up high ground after taking Roshan and just gets it, so...
but they have to play the percentages, right? There's almost no way they win this game, and Roche is one possible...
Clockwork, nice! He gets it! Goes down, but hey...
That's fine, honestly. This Clockwork's sick, dude. If they put more people in, no, they're not gonna bother. They're just gonna let him die. That was a nice Aegis steal, honestly. Hypno's pretty legit.
Yeah, in the meantime, Blink, RP gets himself a Gyrocopter, that's one dead Gyro. Burning already used his BKB right there and kinda trigger happy on it. It takes a ton of damage, doesn't have an Aegis, but does get relocated to try and take down the Dragonite. Dragonite TPs himself out into safety. In the meantime, R2K turned on his BKB and he's just picking off supports in the base. I mean, he has just taken down 3 heroes.
There we go.
On the other side of the fight.
Of the king indeed.
Yeah,
that was
super
R2K
nice.
had an amazing game.
Dragonite will end up going down as well. I mean, okay. We knew that DK was the very favorite in this matchup. But at least they can say, hey, we had a game against DK, and we stole their Aegis.
I don't think Xiao Pengyo are the weakest team in the tournament. They didn't look bad against lgd.int, for instance.
True.
lgd.int, they didn't win, but you know, they made lgd.int sweat a bit. I think they have some good execution. Like I said, like the ganks were decent early. I think this Clockwork player has potential. They're not going to beat a team like DK. DK are, you know, for all the hate they get, they're one of the best teams in the world, unquestionably. And it was important for DK psychologically, in my opinion, to come into day 2 of this tournament, come into a day in which they have to play 4 games, and win the first one convincingly. So they're going to be happy with how this went. ROTK in particular, 13-0-12.
Yeah, of course, I mean, there was a short period of time where it was actually said DK is going to pull out of the competition due to some issues with a family member, well, someone of DK. In the end, they ended up coming back because the organizers were able to change the rosters around, making DK not play on the first day, allowing for DK to still have their issues resolved, and then coming back on the second day and having 4 of their games played in one day. So it's gonna be a busy day for them, for sure. But yeah, a good start for indeed. And
Their
I mean,
DK are probably maybe even more than us hoping that the schedule manages to be a little bit more on time today. Because if you have to play for an entire day, I mean, I don't think any teams. Orange had the worst split yesterday because they had one of the first games and one of the last games.
Zhao Pingyo has the first game and the last game.
Today or yesterday?
Today.
Ouch.
Because of the swap. Otherwise it wouldn't have happened. But because of the swap with Tong Fu that they had, they are playing now, and they're playing up against Tong Fu in the last matchup. So it's also not like like teams that you can sleep on. Nice hook shot. RTK turns on his BKB. They'll relocate coming in as well. RP up on 4. Oh god, that's gonna be disastrous. If it wasn't already, I mean,
if you're Xiao Pengyo here, there's no reason not to take that fight. Why not? Try to at least get one victory team fight. Worst comes to worst, you lose.
But you already, yeah, 30k gold behind, 35k experience behind. I find it very brave that they haven't called a GG yet.
Very brave. Well, they're all dead. It's not like.
Well, it's like, you know, very proud. They're very proud.
It is very proud. I think, honestly, I think they're a team with potential. I see all their players making some pretty solid plays. The early game didn't work out for them, in my opinion. DK had some very smart. This is the hidden power of the 2-1-2 sometimes. if you know that the 3 versus 2 isn't going to actually dominate you. So one of the problems with 2-on-2, one of the reasons people don't usually run it, is you don't win the 2 versus 1 enough, and you lose the 3 versus 2 dramatically. If those things weren't true, you know, there's some inherent advantages to running 2-on-2. It's just that, you know, you can't win the lanes. But here, DK appropriately calculated that the aggressive tri-lane of Xiaopengyo wasn't a strong enough aggressive tri-lane to punish burning in MMY, other than prevent burning from farming. And they guessed also correctly that they could pressure Haibutsu extremely hard, get the tower, and get his 6 delayed by running Enchantress and Weaver top. So it was like the perfect use case for that dual laning, and it helped them a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just looking at this, and DK just having a field day here. RTK actually would go down. Look at that.
So maybe Xiaopengyo just want people, they're being good sports for getting people epics or whatever, like tournament drops for all the multi-kills.
You're right. Actually, no.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any items for a while.
Maybe they just took off the caster seeing it, which was a bug, I think.
That is true. You're right.
I'm sure people are getting their epics.
Yeah. We of course we have the GG called.
Nice flubbed RP there. Super.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Wouldn't be a game without a Mr.
It would not be a Magnus game without one totally missed RP. But I mean, it's not consequential to the result. RTK does end up getting a death, so he will only be the second strongest meter performance of the ECL so far. But nonetheless leads his team to a very dominating victory. Burning also recovering from a slow early start to end up with 22,000 net worth and true ultimate style. Hey, yeah, congrats to Shell the Storm Rage and 5 or 7.
5 or. Wow. That I didn't get to reach that one. Read that one. Of course, I mean, this was only the first game of 10 that we're gonna see today. This was DK versus Xiaopengyo. I know I don't pronounce it properly, but I do try. We are gonna see DK again after this one. They'll be taking on Rising Stars, who might have a quick break because, of course, Rising Stars has to set up their PCs. It's going to be their first match of the day as well. DK, of course, can just sit tight and wait for the next game to happen. And that goes for people at home and us as casters too. We're just going to sit tight, wait for the next game to happen. Of course, you are watching a Beyond the Summit presentation. My name is Shiver, at Shiver Gaming on Twitter. My co-caster is Vikermont, and you can find him on Twitter as well at Vikermont. And I will type them in the chat in a moment.
Yep.
Of course.
And next game is DK Rising Stars, right?
Yep. And it is the RedBull Esports Champions League.
Sure is.
That's what we're watching right now. So, let's jump ourselves out of this match and prepare for the next one. Stick around for more Dota 2 action, and we'll be right back.